Hi, guys. Welcome to Pivot and Profit with Priscilla. Today, I want to talk to you about some of the biggest mistakes new government contractors make. Attending government conferences. Attending government conferences can be beneficial. However, when you're a government contractor and you don't know a lot about government contracting, you're kind of just in the space feeling it out and just happy to be in the room. One of the things we did when we first started was we tried to go to every government conference. They are having conferences in Atlanta. We live in Atlanta, so that wasn't too bad. However, tickets are $600 a piece, $750 a piece. They're having the big government conference in Orlando, Florida. We go out, we get a hotel room, we fly down to Orlando. We've already paid $750 just to be in the room. And now we're here. We take a lot of notes. We try to network and we try to meet people, but we're not utilizing these conferences to their full potential. One thing you'll learn when you research these government conferences is that they're not just having presentations and speakers. There's one-on-one sessions that you can have with agencies in the federal government, the VA, HHS. There, those people in contracting offices are there, and you can book one-on-one sessions with them. But if you're booking a one-on-one session and you don't know what questions to ask, you don't know how to market yourself, you don't know what services they're looking for, you don't even know what they pay for. What are their highest payments in government contracting? What are the services they spend the most money on? You need to be aware of these type of things before you walk into a room and before you pay $700 for a ticket. Now, also at these conferences, they have vendors. They have a lot of vendors set up that can help you with accounting, bookkeeping, their CRM software. There's people there that are selling products and services that can help you in your business. That's good and it's beneficial to walk around and get pamphlets. But to pay $700 and walk out of the space with a bag full of pamphlets and marketing material just wasn't beneficial for us. So what I started to do is do more research on these conferences, attend conferences that are going to have agencies there that primarily look for my services. Agencies there that primarily give contracts to people that have my type of set asides. For example, the it's a big agency for us. As a service disabled veteran, we get set asides and we get prime positioning for some of their contracts. The VA spend lots of money every year on laundry services, on janitorial services, on laundry products and cleaning products, things like that. That's my wheelhouse. That's who I'm looking for when I go to a conference. So if they're going to be in the space, if they're going to be there, I'm trying to get in early. I'm trying to book a one-on-one session so I can have conversation. Go to these conferences with a purpose, not just to be in a room with a bunch of other government contractors, because it's not very beneficial at that point.
So it sounds like if it's not about like going to conferences, it's about making sure that you're choosing the right conferences. How are you finding the right ones to be at? Because some of these ones that you mentioned, was there a central database or anything like that?
There's not really a central database. I think one thing you need to do in government contracting is just like you have a target market when you're in the commercial space or in when you're dealing with customers, you do market research, right? You target the type of income level, the type of people that you want to be your primary customer. You need to do the same thing in government contracting. Who's your primary customer? The government has a number of agencies, lots of agencies, okay? So you need to figure out which agencies are spending the most on your type of services. Pick 1 to 2 agencies. Don't pick a ton because that's going to help you narrow down your decision making and your choices and your focus. So you pick 1 to 2 agencies that are spending the most money on your type of services. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for conferences based around those agencies. You're looking for what they call industry days. Industry days are usually with certain agencies have their own conferences and they're putting out their own information. Some of these now are virtual, some of them are in person, but they're putting out their own information on how you can service them and how you can provide services for them. So that's what you're going to look for. The next thing you want to consider is when you're applying for government contracts. When you're applying for government contracts, it can be overwhelming. Putting together a proposal can take a lot of time. I would spend days sometimes putting together a proposal because the government makes it clear that you need to answer every question. You need to supply every piece of data that they're asking you for. ChatGPT has helped a lot of people and it's starting to be a lot more helpful. However, ChatGPT is not going to be able to spit out a specific type of proposal that you're looking for. It has helped me in the space where I can upload the contract and ask ChatGPT to help me through the different spaces. So I then have to go in and correct what they're giving me and put in my own information and what's relevant to me. However, there was a time when I was out here applying for almost every contract I saw. That's a waste of time. You're not going to get every contract you apply for. As a matter of fact, most of the contracts that I've won have been because someone has reached out to me for specific market research and trying to understand what I do, what services I provide, and how much I charge for those services. Applying for contracts can be very tedious. So you don't want to get bogged down in just applying for a bunch of contracts. You want to be strategic and you want to focus on the contracts that you can provide the best service, you can provide quality, and at the best price. The government looks at pricing heavily. So those are the things you want to focus on when you're applying for government contracts.
So if most of your stuff has been referral based, is there really like any point in applying for government contracts, or should we focus in on building that network so we can get those referrals? Like, how have you gotten those referrals to begin with?
Most of my referrals come from my business being set up on Sam.Gov and me having a DSBS profile. You have to be where the government contractors, the contracting officers can find you. They're not going to go searching for your webpage, although you should have a webpage because that's the second place they're going to look. But they're going to go to Sam. They're going to go looking for your DSBS profile. That's how they're finding government contractors. So that's where I've been found a lot of times, and they've reached out to me via email. My first contract, I was reached out to via email about it. You also you want to do a little bit of both. You want to apply for contracts because even if you don't get those government contracts, you get to attend the site visit. You get to see the setup and understand what they're looking for. You also can ask for feedback. If you didn't get the contract, you can reach out to the government the contracting officer and ask for feedback. Hey, is there a reason I didn't win the contract? What can I do better? I'm just looking for information so I can approve as a government contractor. So it's not a waste of time applying for contracts, especially when you're new in this space. You want to gather as much information and experience in this as you can in order to use it to apply for future contracts. The last thing that a lot of government contractors do that's a big mistake is they go straight for the federal contracts. That's where they feel like the money is. Those are the contracts they go for. Those are the ones that they hone in on and they focus on. Federal government contracting is a tough space. I don't want to make it seem like it's easy and you're going to win every contract you apply for. However, there are a lot of contracts in the local and state space that are very lucrative. One of the biggest tips that I found out about is going into your local government and introducing yourself to your congressman. Going into these local offices and introducing yourself to people and say, hey, I'm in the community. I provide these services in your city, in your county, in your state. I just want to let you know. If you have anything come up that I can service you on, please let me know. They need to know you're out there and you're providing this type of service. Don't be afraid to go to council meetings and meet people. A lot of these mayors and politicians want to know that you're in the community and you offer these services. They're looking for you. They need your services. Don't automatically think somebody's already out here fulfilling these services, because a lot of time they want to give it to the small business. They want to give it to the veteran-owned business, or they want to give it to the woman-owned business. You just need to let them know that you're in the area and you can do it.
Okay, that sounds great. But my question is, if this is like one of the biggest mistakes people are making, is it that the federal government, like they're not looking for that? Like what's the hindrance?
It's not that the federal government's not looking for it. The federal government is always out here looking for contractors. They're always out here looking for people that can provide services. They just don't know you're out there. So a lot of times the bigger companies get the contracts. The bigger companies are the one that gets the services. So when you let them know you're in the space, they can offer you the contract. And they're happy to do it most of the time. I hope these tips were helpful. These are some of the biggest mistakes that I made when I was new in government contracting. I'm here to help you guys. I want to provide this as a service to service-based providers that want to get into government contracting. Hope you head over to my website. We're going to have a lot of digital products to help you through this and help you understand things so you don't make the same mistakes I made. I hope these were helpful, and I hope you guys tune in for the next episode.